or to be used as objects of decorations for advertisements, but they do work. They work in the Ministry of Health, Interior, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Social Affairs, and so on. So, and we don't have any problem with women's education. We have said that we want education and we will have education whether or not we are under anybody's pressure, because that is part of our belief. We are ordered to do that. When we say that there should be segregated schools, it does not mean that we don't want women to be educated. It's true that we are against co-education, but it's not true that we are against women's education. We do have schools even now, but the problem is the resources. We cannot expand those programs. Before our government, there were numerous curriculums that were going on. There were curriculums which preached the kings for the king, and there were curriculums which preached for the communists, and there were curriculums from all these 7 parties. So the students were confused as to what to study. And the first thing we have done today is to unify that curriculum, and that's going on. But we are criticized, and we say that instead of criticism, if you just help us once, that will make a difference. Criticism will not make a difference. If you start criticism from New York, thousands of miles away, we don't care. But if you come there and help us, we do care. So actually there are more girls students studying in the Faculty of Medical Science than boys are. This is not me who is saying this. This is the United Nations who announced this. Recently we reopened the Faculty of Medical Science in all major cities of Afghanistan, and in Kandahar there are more girl students than boys, but they are segregated. And the Swedish committees they have also established schools for girls. I know they are not enough, but that's what we can do. So that is what I say that we have restored. I don't say we are 100% perfect, and nobody will say that they are 100% perfect. We do have shortcomings, and we do need to amend our policies. But we can't do everything overnight. And the sixth problem that we are, the sixth or seventh I think. The seventh problem that we are accused of is terrorism, or the existence of terrorists in Afghanistan. And for Americans, terrorism or terrorist means only Bin Laden. Now you will not know that Afghanistan, or Bin Laden was in Afghanistan 17 years before even we existed. Bin Laden was in Afghanistan, fought the Soviet Union, and Mr. Ronald Reagan, the president of America in that time, and Mr. Dick Cheney called such people freedom fighters or the heroes of independence, because they were fighting for their cause. So Osama bin Laden was one of those guys who were instigated by such media reports or indirect provocation by these countries to go to Afghanistan and fight the Soviet bear. And now when the Soviet Union is fragmented, such people were not needed anymore, and they were transformed into terrorists, from heroes to terrorists. So exactly like Mr. Yasser Arafat was transformed from a terrorist to a hero. So we don't know as to what is the definition of terrorism. We do admit that the terrorist acts in Kenya and Tanzania were actually horrific acts, and they were terrorist acts. But if they are terrorist acts, what is the difference between those terrorist acts and the attacks on Afghanistan? The 1998 cruise missile attacks in Afghanistan. Neither of the two were declared, and both of them killed civilians. So we are confused as to what is the definition of terrorism. If it means killing civilians blindly, both of them killed civilians blindly. And the fact is, I'm not going to be offensive or rude about this. I'm going to be frank, and I think it's sometimes honest to be rude. If the United States says that it has acted for its defense, let's see. The United States government